All right. So as we start to come together for the meditation, I'll give you a little bit of a background on what we're going to be talking about and how this kind of feeds into both the greater conversation and also how this can really apply to our own personal growth. Good morning, Erin. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Carmen. So when we are in a certain belief system, a belief pattern, it's really easy to get caught up in that belief. You don't even know that it's coloring the lenses of what you're seeing and how you're thinking and how you're acting. Good morning, Paula. It's just there. It's like the water that you're swimming in. So you don't even see it for what it is. But once you start to become aware of beliefs that are limiting you or beliefs that are no longer serving you. And, we can look at this on a personal level. We can look at this on a societal, a global level. Obviously we're in the midst of another big movement in terms of the anti-racism movement. And even that alone is really deeply rooted in belief. And so we don't even necessarily see all of the beliefs that have been instilled because they're so deep and they can be generational. So that's the same with our own personal beliefs. They can be generational. It's not that it's somebody's fault that we hold a belief. It's not that it's our fault that we are continuing to perpetuate our own story of shame or blame or limitation for ourselves. But there's a really powerful way to shift belief that we often overlook, because when we're holding a belief pattern that feels stuck, it's really difficult to think our way through it. So sometimes we'll have this idea of, okay, this belief is limiting me and I want it to be different, but it feels so uncomfortable. It feels so out of your element, so foreign to you that you don't even know what to do. And so the secret is, and this is what the meditation that we're going to be doing today, is to take inspired action. And inspired action is basically seeing yourself in a different belief, in a different space, and acting from that space. So acting from a different space than kind of the waters that you're already swimming in. It's like being a fish in a small pond and then acting as though you live in the ocean. Like it's a totally different mindset, but it's going to feel really uncomfortable. It's going to feel, maybe the fish analogy is a bad one because it's actually something that could cause harm. But when we can put ourselves into that future mindset, into that new inspired action and that belief mindset, then the belief pattern, the new belief pattern is going to follow. But we can't get there until we take that inspired action. So it has to feel like really uncomfortable. And if you have made any large changes in your life, you know this to be true. You know how important it is that you take those inspired actions, and that itself is what's going to shift. Yeah. Good morning, Selena. Yes, totally fire. And this is partly inspired by something that you said last week when we were talking on our accelerator call. And so as we're moving through and shifting these limiting beliefs, it takes inspired action. And what's really interesting about this is once we start to take those inspired actions, it actually gets easier. It still feels uncomfortable, but we start to know the path. We start to understand this kind of new direction, this new roadmap of growth and change, is that it takes this inspired action. And so it has to feel uncomfortable. And so if you've heard me talk about it or anybody else talk about how fear is really the way in, it's the same thing. Fear is absolutely the way into changing limiting beliefs, into shifting patterns of belief, whether that's personal, societal, or global. Oh, so much love to you too, Selena. And something, yeah, I'll kind of speak to it similar to kind of the aha I had when we were chatting in our accelerator group, is So when we have experienced something, so as an example, if I work really, really hard in my business to achieve something, like I work my ass off and then I achieve it, what I'm going to do is look back and see what caused that achievement and think that hard work is what caused it. Now, the issue with that is that's not necessarily true, right? That is a belief. That is just a belief that has led me to this space because now I'm in this experience and that's what I think has led me to it. But if I were to take inspired action and do it in a way that felt like it was really honoring me. So if I was not hustling, if I was not working my ass off, what if I just worked really gently? What if I was really slow and intentional? And then I succeeded. Then what I would think is that that's what it takes to lead to success. And so you can see that regardless of the path, it leads to success. But whatever it is that got you there, that you think got you there, that belief that has led you there is the one that you're going to keep perpetuating. So what we're going to be doing in our meditation today is looking at a situation that is limiting for us. And if you want to go global, go global. If you want to go into, what's happening in terms of the anti-racist movement, absolutely. If you have something personal that's currently limiting you, that feels like you're stuck, you just can't see your way past it, then kind of pull that into the meditation because this will be a really powerful way that we can shift it. Yeah, Paula says, like the turtle, slow and steady wins. Yeah, if that's, and that's the fascinating thing. That's an option. That's another belief pattern. It's a choice. Okay, so let's do this meditation. So if you'd like to take your comfortable position of meditation, it can be seated or lying down, whatever works for you. I love Mondays. I know not everybody does, but I just love the energy that comes with Mondays. And truthfully, that was a belief shift that I chose a long time ago. And now, genuinely, I feel this beautiful excitement in me. And that's an inspired action that I took, was to really kind of bring in this excitement. So I'm loving practicing with you on Mondays. So as you find your position of meditation, see if you can settle in. So turn your senses inward. Bring your senses into this moment with you, into your body, into the space of now, the space of presence. And one very powerful way to do that is to feel the insides of your body, to feel any sensations, to feel any emotions that are moving. Just do a check-in. See where you're at this morning. Let's start to engage the breath a little bit. So start to lengthen your inhale and your exhale. Just very gently, not in a way that causes any breath constriction. Now I'd like you to bring up in your mind's eye, in your present moment experience, the situation or the belief that is currently limiting you. And again, it can be on an individual level, it can be on a societal level, on a global level, whatever you feel called to look at right now. I'd like you to hold that experience and really look at where you're feeling stuck. Where you're feeling as though there's no way to turn, there's no options available to you, or again, to society, or on a global level. And just sit in that discomfort, sit in that feeling of stuckness. And check in with your body. What happens in your body when you feel stuck? What happens in your body when you feel like there are no options? There's no way through. For me, I can feel like an immediate constriction in my throat and my chest. It makes it difficult to breathe. It makes it hard to swallow. And it feels like there's pressure, like somebody is physically pressing down on my heart. Now, what we're going to do is engage imagination. This could be intuitive as well if you feel really tapped into intuition at the moment. What we're going to do is imagine what it looks like to be on the other side of this issue, this problem, this limitation. You don't need to know the way through. Just imagine yourself already past it. Imagine yourself or society, or again on that global level, past this issue, past this conflict, this limitation. And put yourself there. Imagine yourself in this new space. And be there. Feel it. Feel what it's like to be in this new space of imagination, of intuitive knowing. Give yourself a little bit of time to really move into this space. And we were just in a space of limitation, so it takes a moment to shift. It takes a moment to really allow our imagination and our intuition to help bring us there. So start to feel into your body now what this feels like, what this space of being on the other side feels like. And for me, it feels like a deep breath. Like there's an expansion. My heart is opening. Before it felt like somebody was pressing on it. Now it feels like it's moving out. And it's actually creating a field around my body. So really feel into that space. Really be there now. Engage in this imagination. Engage in the intuitive knowing of what is possible on the other side. And now in this space, ask yourself, as this person in this space, how would I think? How would I act? How would I feel? So really hold that inquiry while you're in this new space. How would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? And so bring up those thoughts, bring up those feelings, and bring up any actions that you feel that you are taking currently in this new space. So I'm imagining already that my thoughts are very much linked to possibility, that I'm excited about what is possible for me, what is possible for the world. I'm feeling really expansive. I'm feeling really hopeful. I'm feeling really loving and open. And a lot of the actions I'm taking are related to these thoughts and these feelings. So the actions that I'm taking are really inspired. They are with this assumption, that we're connected, that we are all in this together. So I'm feeling really free to move through. I'm feeling really unencumbered, like I've put a weight down and I'm just kind of stepping gently. So hold this inquiry for yourself. How would I think, feel, and ultimately act? And now I invite you to hold the answers to your inquiry and draw yourself back into the present moment experienced limitation. So before, we were sitting in a space of what felt like stuckness. And I'd like you to carry this new set of thoughts, feelings, and actions back into that space with you, back into that space that feels limiting, that feels like stuckness. And in that space, bring in these thoughts, these feelings, and these actions. Imagine being where you are in the current experience of limitation. And ask the question again, how can I bring in these thoughts, feelings, and actions in order to move through this limitation, in order to move past and on to the other side? So for me, I don't even feel the same tension, the same constriction, the same emotion. I'm just seeing a path forward. I'm just seeing doors opening, new possibilities. So really help to hold this new vibration of possibility in your present moment experience and just see where it leads you. Now let's draw our focus to our heart space, and you can place your hands there if that feels good for you, hand on hand or in prayer position. We're going to hold the energy of gratitude now. Gratitude is such a powerful energy because in gratitude, it is the energy of completion, the energy of signaling that the work is already done. And so we are grateful for the work that we have already done here, for the action that we are already taking, for the new thoughts and the feelings that are already ours. Really feel in this space of gratitude, in this energy of completion. Any limitation just dissolve, just drop away. And let's take 3 nice, big, beautiful, deep breaths together. So inhale through the nose. Exhale audibly out the mouth. 2 more. One more. Thank you so much for practicing with me. The light of gratitude, of inspiration within me sees the same within you. Namaste. Thank you so much for being in practice with me this morning. I'll speak to this again just to kind of really draw it home, and then we'll close the chat and meditation. So I started by talking about how inspired action leads to change, to belief change. And in the meditation that we just did, we really touched into an experience that feels limiting for us, and then felt what it would be like to be without that limitation, to move on to the other side. And this is so important in terms of shifting belief. We have to move into a space of imagination. We have to move into a space of intuitive knowing in order for that belief to shift. Because if we're acting from that space of current belief, nothing is going to change. We have to move into the same level that the belief was formed. We have to move into that subconscious level and then actively replace that belief. And then from that space, when we take inspired action that is rooted in new possibility, then that leads us forward, that leads us through. And I feel things really viscerally, so I'm not sure, how everybody else experiences it. That's the beauty of our uniqueness. But like, I genuinely feel when I'm putting myself in the space of imagining limitation, of being in that experience, I feel it. And so I know what it's like to move on to the other side, because I feel that. I feel the expansiveness. And that's really the power of self-inquiry. That's the power of meditation. And that's the power of inspired action. And so it might not feel good in that moment to do it, but the energy of that inspired action, the energy of the new thoughts and the beliefs does feel good. So what is not feeling good for you is the desire to hold on to the old, is the desire to hold on to that old safety net, and a fear that if we let go somehow, that's going to negate that experience. So as a really potent example that I'm currently experiencing is in my current relationship. I've had past experiences where I've been like really let down, like really some deep traumas were formed during times in my life where I really needed support, and it just wasn't there. And it was, it was definitely something that I've been carrying forward with me into this new relationship. And so it feels really uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable to trust again, because my spidey senses are going off. They're like, don't you dare trust, because that is unsafe. And so what I actually need to do in order to move past that limitation is to trust. I actually have to take that inspired action to trust, even though it feels awful, even though it feels like I don't know how to do this, and I'm sad and I'm scared, and there's so many things around it. Like this is a whole other conversation. But every time I let my guard down a little bit and I move into that new space of inspired action, it's a noticeable change. There's a little bit more freedom. There's a little bit more expansiveness. And so I really hope that this serves you in terms of a limitation that you might be experiencing, and a new way forward for you to kind of imagine yourself in that future, and to put yourself in this space of new inspired thoughts, feelings, and actions. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. And super quick announcement, Dorje, the singing shaman, is going to be on Instagram Live with me tomorrow night at 7. And I hope that you come and join us. It's going to be so powerful. And she's going to be helping us do the work of self-inquiry around the anti-racism movement and really look at, our own experience within this space. All right, that's it for today. I wish you such a beautiful day. So much love. Bye, everybody.